I'm writing this to no one. I need to say that first, because if I believe someone is reading it, I'll soften it. I'll add context that flatters them. I'll find the phrase that makes my mother sound like she was simply confused, or my father like a man shaped by a generation that didn't know better. I've been doing that for years. I'm tired of it. So this is for no one. This is just the record. I started sending money home in 2019. Not because anyone acts directly. That's not how my family works. No one in my family acts directly. They describe. They sigh. They mention over a Sunday call that the roof is making a sound again, that the neighbor's property taxes went up, that your brother is going through something right now, and it's not a good time to bring things up. I was 29. I had a job that paid well enough that I felt guilty about it. That guilt was the door they walked through. By 2021, I had covered the down payment. $43,000 transferred in 4 installments across 8 months because I didn't want it to feel like a transaction. I wanted it to feel like love made practical. I told myself that's what it was. My name was not on the deed. I asked once. My father said it was complicated, something about how the mortgage was structured, how it would be cleaner if it was just the two of them for now. I accepted this. I wrote it down in my own head as temporary. I should have written it somewhere else. My brother Daniel is not a bad person. I want to be precise about that, because the easier version of this story makes him a villain, and he isn't. He's someone who has always existed slightly outside the reach of consequence. Not through cruelty, through a kind of inherited immunity. My parents love him in the way you love something fragile. Carefully, with both hands they love me, I think, the way you love something sturdy. From a distance. With confidence that it doesn't need tending. When my mother said Daniel needed stability, she meant it. He was between jobs again. His apartment lease had ended. There was a quiet crisis, the kind that gets handled before it's ever fully named. And the house, the one I had paid for, had a second bedroom. I didn't find out he'd moved in from them. I found out from a photo on Instagram. Daniel on the back porch, grilling, laughing. Tagged to an address I recognized because I had written it on a wire transfer form. I didn't call. I sat with it for 11 days. I am not someone who acts from anger. I've learned over a long time that anger makes you legible in ways that cost you. So I waited. I gathered. I had every transfer record. Every email where my father mentioned the roof, the taxes, the water heater they'd replaced in March. I had a text from my mother, sent 2 years earlier, the night I confirmed the down payment, that said, "I don't know what we'd do without you. Sweetheart, I screenshot everything, organized it by date, and I did not feel powerful doing it. I felt like an accountant settling someone else's estate. 3 months after the Instagram photo, I learned the deed had been transferred, not to Daniel, to both of them, but with Daniel listed as a co-occupant with right of succession, contingent on my parents' passing. A document I was never shown, never consulted on, drawn up 4 months before I found out he'd moved in. I don't know if they planned it. That's the part I've stopped trying to answer. I contacted an attorney. Not a family mediator, not a therapist who does estate counseling. A real estate attorney named Margaret, who wore reading glasses on a beaded chain and spoke with the affect of someone who had heard every version of this story and found all of them equally unsurprising. She reviewed my transfers, the dates, the amounts, the absence of any gift documentation, any formal agreement. She said the phrase unjust enrichment the way you'd say it's going to rain. There was a letter sent, official letterhead, an itemized accounting of every dollar, a formal notice of claim against the property. I was not present for the moment my parents received it. I don't know if my father read it standing in the kitchen or sitting down. I don't know if my mother cried or went quiet or called Daniel immediately. I didn't ask. I still haven't. What I know is that 4 weeks later my father called me. He didn't apologize. He said, "We didn't realize this had gotten so formal." I said, "I know." There was a long pause. The kind that used to make me rush to fill it, to smooth it over, to say something that brought the temperature down. I let it sit. He said they wanted to talk about making things right. I said, "Margaret will be in touch." The settlement didn't return $43,000. It returned 26. Margaret explained what was recoverable, what wasn't, and I signed the paperwork on a Tuesday afternoon and drove home in ordinary traffic. There was no relief exactly. Nothing unclenched. Daniel texted me once. "I didn't know," T had said. 3 words with no punctuation, which is either the most honest thing he's ever said to me or the least. I haven't responded. My parents sent a card at Christmas. A store-bought one, the kind with a pre-printed message. My mother signed her name. My father signed his. There was no other writing inside. I put it on the counter. I looked at it for a few days. Then I threw it away, not angrily. Just the way you throw away something that no longer belongs anywhere in your home. I said this was for no one. That's still true. But if I'm being precise, and I am always being precise now, I think I'm writing it for the version of myself who almost didn't document anything, who almost let it stay soft and unnamed and handled with grace. She almost cost me everything.